Alrighty, here my screen. Here my screen. This is the home buyers class, and I am going to be teaching you. It's a home buyers workshop, so it's not a certified home buyers class, but I do teach a certified home buyers class. After this, then you'll be able to sign up for that home buyers class to get a certificate that's good for 2 years. This right here, just a workshop, just to kind of walk you through, how the down payment work, and if you have any questions, so I can answer those questions for you. So I am here. I'm Viv Cunningham with Preferred Real Estate Brokers here in Central Florida. I love working with first-time home buyers, helping them find down payment, elderly, veterans, and stuff like that, getting them into a home for little or no money down. It's usually what I do, and I close on quite a few down payment assistant program that there's many different programs that is here in Central Florida. Many, many, many different programs. Let me check to make sure. Many, many, many different program here in Central Florida. Want to make sure that nobody's in the waiting room waiting on me. All right. Okay, so looking at my screen, it says how to buy a home in Florida, even if you think you can't afford it. Okay, I've closed on several. This person here would that get got $50,000 to put down on their home. I did close on that about a couple weeks ago, and it was a person, single person, got about 50,000. Some lenders have different programs, and some county have different programs. So each county have their own program. If you're in Lake County has their own program. If you are in Orange County has their own program. So each lender in each county will help you get that down payment assistant program, whatever it is that you're looking for, it will help you get that program. And there's many different programs out there. There's programs like SHIP programs that are in Lake County, and then they also have the SHIP program in Orange County. But usually Orange County down payment assistant is pretty, it's pretty straightforward if you know what you're doing. But if you don't know what you're doing, then of course, then it becomes difficult. So we're just going to jump in and get started, and explain to you how it works. So hi, I'm Viv Cunningham, and I'm a realtor for over 18 years now. And I'm also the past president, yay, past president of the Florida Realtor Association of Lake and Sumter County. I specialize in VA, first time home buyers, seniors, and down payment assistance. So that is my forte. I started that many, many years ago, where when I first got into real estate, I remember selling my first home, and it was $25,000 for the first one, and I think the second one was $35,000 or something like that. And I started selling, and back then I didn't know what it is I was supposed to do. I just know I wanted to learn the down payment assistant, and I also know that I wanted to learn about selling the HUD houses because so many people are first-time home buyers, and of course they cannot afford to get inside of a home. So I help you facilitate that and get inside home. So my goal tonight is to make sure homeownership feels clear and it's achievable. So that is my goal. And if you have any questions, you can send me a message and let me know you have a question. if you're looking into your county and you don't know about any program, if you have a realtors that needs help or your lender or something like that that needs help, you can always also reach out to me. I love to be a business business advisory on for business owners in order to be able to help them facilitate on 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 getting the down payment assistance. So I just want to be able to walk you through. I am going to have these workshop monthly, because after this workshop, then your next step is to sign up for the 3-night class. And the 3-night class is I Neville and I teach that 3-night class every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. The first Wednesday and Thursday and Friday of the month consecutively. So the first week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, it goes from 6:30 until 9 p.m. We teach the class, and then Friday you graduate, and then the following week, Monday, Tuesday, you get your certificate. And then after that, of course, you're off to go find a house, whether you have a realtor or you have a lender. You can share that certificate with them. This class is it's HUD certified, so of course you have to be compliant in the class, and you have to show up all 3 nights. Okay. And then once you get it, then of course you can take it and get down payment assistance in any 50 state that you want to. So you just have to reach out to a lender and realtor. But make sure when you are doing that, reaching out to a lender or you're reaching out to a realtor, make sure you quiz them, ask them questions like, have you did down payment assistant before? How many down payment assistant have you done? Just different things like that. Ask them question because I've seen and heard a lot of story because we've been teaching this class for so long, and I've heard a lot of story where the realtor is either pointing the buyer towards houses that they don't want, dilapidated house, or if not, they're pointing them to houses that they cannot afford or something like that, or steering them away from the down payment assistance, saying that there's no money out there. A lot of time, the lender might, if the lender don't know how to do the down payment, it might say there's no money out there. Same thing with the assistant. Same thing with the assistant. Somebody's telling me they can't get on. Trying to get in, but it won't let me. Okay, so let's see if I can help them to get in. Let's see. Help them to get in. So I sent another link. I sent you another link. Please check to see if you're able to use that to get in. Okay, so all right, so that person said they cannot get in. But so anyway, so yes, so I help you to get all of that. Okay, so why this workshop exists. I was just laying down, and with me, I'm always kind of crazy where I think about all kinds of stuff when I'm laying down, and I come up with all these crazy idea. So anyway, now that I'm not so busy, okay, being the president of the Realtor Association, I have a little bit more free time to do something that I like to do and stuff like that. When you're committed to something, you've got to make sure that you are committed to whatever it is that you say you're committed to. Your word should be golden. So I am just glad just to see that I am able to get this workshop started again. And I'm going to be doing these once a month to kind of help people buy houses because there's so many people buy houses. All right, I think this, let me see. Let me see if I can let you in. Okay. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. So, but anyway, so why this workshop exists, too many people are told you can't buy a house without real guidance. You can buy a house, if you, but to find a down payment assistant, unless you are a realtor, you got to go in and do your research. But if you have a realtor that you're working with, let the realtor do the research for you, because the realtor is supposed to be able to know where to find and help you find money for down payment. Home buyers feels like they feel confused, they feel stressed, and they also feel overwhelmed. And I can understand that, because when I teach the home buyers class, I just can imagine we pump so much information through them and in them within 3 nights, and it's 8 hours, and we're just filling them with information, because those module are is 5 different module, and we have to go through it. We only have 3 days to go through it. Not even 3 days. We only have three 2.5 or 3.5 hour time slot to go through it. So it starts at 6:30 and it goes through 9. But of course, within that 8 hours, you're able to finish it. We're able to finish it, but we always got to be on point and on key. So misinformation keep good people stuck in the sidelines, and that we don't want, because the thing is, I find with the home buyers class that I teach as well, that so many people take the class but not necessarily mean they step out to go buy a house, maybe because their credit might not be good. But that's something that we can work on. We can work on your credit, to in order to help you get inside of a house. This workshop exists to bring clarity, and it also will educate you and tell you different options that you may have in this workshop. This is not the certified class. I teach a certified class once a month, and that you have to register for. If you do want the link to register for that class, let me know. If you're in Orange County, Orange County pays $50 per person and $100 per couple. And then also they also have a grant that they can help you clean up your credit in order to get into a home. The credit score, the sweet spot is about 640 is the sweet spot, to make sure that you're in that sweet spot. And if not, then we help get you in that sweet spot. So there's many different options out there. There's no excuse for you not to buy a house if you really want to buy a house. What you walk away knowing when you leave here tonight is how the home buying process actually works, what matters most, and what doesn't when getting started. How down payment assistance can help reduce out of pocket costs, what your next step should be based on your situation when you leave here. So I will guide you through. If you have any questions at all, I'll guide you through step by step of the process. Um, I think I find my calling because I just love working with first time home buyers and seniors, veterans as well, VAs, you know, just love working with them in order to help them get money. Right now, just closed on one about 2 weeks ago. The buyer got $50,000. Lenders also have money, so you need to check with the lender. And some of these programs are also stackables, okay, where you can stack one on top of the other. So Orange County gave the buyer $50,000, and the lender ended up giving the buyer $10,000. So the buyer ended up getting $50,000 in total. So the buyer only took 2,000. About the buyer took $3,000 out of their pocket. That was it, $3,000. They had we gave them escrow. The escrow was about 2,000, and of course they had to pay for their inspection, because you need to get the inspection out of the way, make sure the house is going to pass inspection. So if you are in Orange County, they do want the inspection report in order to make sure that you are getting a sound house. They don't really want you to not buy a house that you cannot go live in right away. Okay, they make sure that you're not buying that house. They make sure that the house is livable. There's no electrical problem. There's no wood rot, there's no termites, just make sure the house is in good condition. So it's not like, say, if you use a down payment assistant, you're buying junk. You're not buying any junk, or at least I don't let you buy junk, because I'm going to point those things out to you, because that is my calling, to make sure that I'm showing you these different things as you go in there, so you're not wasting your money on inspection. So the real truth about buying a home, okay, the bust, what people think about is the biggest misconceptions are, you need 20% down. Okay. You don't need 20% down. You probably can get 20% down if you're getting it from, of course, the down payment assistant, the bond, the grant, or whatever it is that you're getting it from, either the grant, the bond, the down payment assistant, or maybe lender's grant or something like that. Um, you can put the 20% down from that. But if it's your own money, you don't necessarily need you don't necessarily need the 20%. They have programs that you can get into a home for 1%, 2%, zero money down, okay, in USDA. I live in Lake County, so in depending on income to debt, your USDA, we have zero money down in Lake County. But then there's also in Lake County, we also have the SHIP program, which can get you 20,000, no, 30,000, 40,000, and 50,000. That's the SHIP program. And then of course, there's many other different programs, but those are some of the main programs. So you need 20% down. No, not necessarily. You can get into a home for little or no money down, just like I said. I'm dealing with one right now where she's going to be getting 50,000. I think it's 50,000 from Orange County. 50,000 from Orange County she's getting. And then and then she's also putting her money on top of it as well. So she's going to put down a large down payment, which is great. So if you have money and you want to put it down and, but always make sure that you have a reserve. If you have, try and make sure you have at least 6 months reserve inside your account, if possible. If not, at least a couple of months. My credit has to be perfect. No, your credit don't have to be perfect. A perfect credit score is over 800. If you're at about 640, 620, you can get it. Even if you're at 580, you can still buy your house, but you might not be able to get the down payment if you're at 580, but you can still buy a house at 580. But 620, 640 is the sweet spot for the down payment assistant. I should wait until rate drop. If you wait until rate drop, what's going to happen is the rate is going to drop, but the price of the house is going to go up. So you never have a balanced market where, the rate dropped and the house price is low. Either one or the other. Which one would you rather? When was the best time to buy a house? The best time to buy a house would have been 20 years ago. Okay. Maybe when COVID hit or something like that, and they had where you could have financed for maybe short sale, or where you could buy a house for short sale, or maybe when COVID hit and a lot of people couldn't afford their mortgage and stuff like that. Then all of a sudden, hey, it goes down, the interest rate goes down to 3%. Right now on my house, I have an interest rate of 3%. That's when the short sale and everything went belly up. I refinanced and I have a 3% on my house right now, but you just never know. But you're not going to get back to that not unless something catastrophic happened in the United States where they're going to be lowering it. So which one would you rather? Would you rather just go ahead and buy the house now and then also if you don't buy the house now, or would you rather wait and then the price is up compared to if you buy the house now and then the rate goes down, you can always refinance. Okay. All right. And then you're renting, is it cheaper? Right now, for me, most people that are telling me their rent is going up, up, up. And just think, your rent is going up, 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 and you're throwing money out the door because you're paying the landlord's salary and you're paying the landlord rent. So that is something that you need to think about. One way or another, you're paying somebody's mortgage. So why not pay your own? Okay. Why not pay your own? For me, I would say I pay my own. Okay. Understanding credit within without being overwhelmed. Okay. Just remember that credit score are a range. It's not a set. It's a range of, okay, you might say between 580 and 680, and it also goes by if you have late payment, at range. If you overcharging on your credit cards, are you in collection? Do you have high balances? Okay. Do you have high balances? Those are things that hurt your credit. So you want to pay your credit card bills down. I always say pay it down to about 29%. Okay, 29% of the value of what's on that credit card. If you have $100 on that credit card, I would say you pay it down to $29. That will boost your credit. Today, I opened up my credit card bill and there was a credit card payment. The total bill that was on there was chart the that was on the account was $79. That was the total balance that was on there. So anyway, they said $40. I'm supposed to make a payment for $40, but I realized that it was a late payment on there. But I never got a credit card bill to say that I owed any balance on it. So anyway, I called the credit card company today and I says, "Hey, I saw you charged me a late payment. I never got a credit card bill." So they waived the late payment. They took it off because I never got a bill. All my bills for last month is sitting right in front of me, and I never got a bill to pay it. So those are the things that you can do. And you can also call the credit card company to have them lower your interest rate as well. And then also, you can have a work around that, but pay your credit card bill down past 29%, at least 29% or lower. So then it'll boost your credit score a lot quicker. Okay. What helps it fast? Paying down your balances. Okay. Maybe one-time payment. If it's just like I said, I had 70 something dollars on it. I just went ahead and they took the late payment off, which was $29. So I just went ahead and paid off the rest of it. Okay. Keep your account open. If you pay off your balance, remember to keep your account open. Do not pay it off and close it, because the credit bureau is looking at how long you had that credit open. How long did you have it open in order? If you just open it last month, they're really not going to count. But if you had it 5 years ago, they'll look at that and that account. So keep your account open. What I do is I have a lot of credit cards. What I do is I put them inside of an envelope, and then a lot of time they ended up expiring. Okay, they ended up expiring a lot of time. So to improve your 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 credit score, making sure that you're paying your bill on time. Okay, and you're keeping your account open. Okay, and remember that the progress that you make of paying your bill and keeping it on time, it matters. Okay, you don't need perfection, but you just need to know that you need to pay your bills on time. Okay. The bank is not going to give people money that don't know how to pay their bills on time. So make sure you're paying your bills on time. Income and employment. W-2 can buy a house, 1099 can buy a house. They even have different kind of loan now where you don't need any income verification, maybe just assets and stuff like that. So there's many different ways of getting inside of a home. Okay. Keep your job. A lot of time they want to see how long you're staying on your job, whether you're on your job a couple of years or something like that. Do you get paid overtime? Do you get paid bonuses? What lenders are looking for? Okay, they're looking for steady income. Are you working overtime? Okay, they're not looking for perfection. Okay. And then if there's anything that's wrong, make sure that you're telling them that. You let them know up front what's going on in order to be able to for them to help you. And if you let them know up front, then they can run your file to the underwriter. Okay. They're not looking for perfection. Okay. Many buyers disqualify themselves too early. Okay. A quick review can change everything. So let your lender look at it, let your realtor look at it and see what's going on. And then when in doubt, just keep asking questions. You ask question, because remember, knowledge is power. Down payment assistance and grant. Local, county, and state programs are available. Many first-time home buyers, they qualify for some kind of program. Okay. There's some kind of programs out there. So all you have to do is just ask your lender, ask your realtor, what is it that I can get to put down on my house? Remember, when you don't have to use your money, it's okay. It's a great thing. Income limit and occupation can open up more option, and I'm going to show you that towards the end of the slides. How you can open up more option. Grants, they have forgivable grants program. They have deferred loan. They have all different kinds of stuff. Not all not all of them you have to actually pay back. Okay, not all of them you have to pay back. Some you might have to pay back. When you sign in the documents, ask them, is this a forgivable grant? And then sometimes they let you live in the house for like 1 year. And then when you live in the house 1 year, let's say, hang on, let me let this person in. Hang on. Hello, welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. We're on down payment assistance and grants. We're talking about down payment assistance and grants. So they have the local, state, and program that's are available. They have county as well. Many first-time home buyers are qualified, so don't disqualify yourself. They do have income limits, And so at the end, I'm going to show you towards the end of the slide, I'm going to show you different income limits that are there. There's grants that are forgivable. Okay. Some of them are deferred. Some of them you can live in the house and for 7 years and you don't have to pay back anything. So you just never know. All you have to do is just ask question and see which grant or which bond or which loan is good for you. How does it work? When you sign in the document, make sure that you ask, is this loan or this grant, is it forgivable? And when do I have to pay it back? Some of them are silent. So they just lend it to you and you live in the house. Let's say you live in the house 7 years. They might say, okay, it's forgiven. But you have to find that out. Each of them, every single one of them is different. So you just need to read it to make sure that it's okay for you. And then usually it works out. I haven't seen anyone that had to pay back any grant. And then if let's say they gave you 7 years to live in that house, and let's say you only live in it 5 years. So what they're going to do is prorate it. And then when you sell that house, let's say you owe them $2,000, they'll take the $2,000. And let's say you made $102,000 on the house, you get $100,000 and they get $2,000. That's how proration works. Okay, assistant can be total. It can total tens of thousands of dollars. Just like I said, I'm close with buyers and they got $40,000. I'm working with a buyer right now. She's getting 40,000 from Orange County, so there's just different money. And the lower your income is, the more money you end up getting. Important. It's very important. These programs are always, they're real program, and I can guide you through each and every one of them every step of the way, along with the lender that's going to help you with that program. If you have any question, you can always put it inside the chat and I will answer it. And then I'll also answer your question at the end once I'm finished going through all the slides. Down payment assistance and grant. So the income limit, okay, I'm just gonna say it with one person. Each person is different. So the income limit for the down payment assistance and household size, this is just an example. So if you're one person, okay, and you're a very low income, let's say your income is 33,800, you can get up to $70,000. In Hillsborough County, okay, those people, a lot of them, those grants are also stackable, and those people down there in Tampa, they get up to $125,000 I've seen. Okay, so the money is different for each person. Don't judge yourself. You have to find out from the lender what money that you can get once you put in your application. So for one person, so the low income, remember we say very low income at 33,800, get up to 70. So let's say you were one person, low income, and then you made $54,050, you can get $40,000. So these buyers that I was working with the other day, and I'm still working with one right now, they're getting $40,000. Okay. And then the one person with the, let's say moderate, and you see it says $81,000, 120, can get $10,000. So you can get enough money to put down on your house regardless. So let's say, let me go to the Orange County program here. So let me do an example of that's Lake Orange County. So the Orange County program, let's give you another example. So the Orange County program, so Lake County have the SHIP program. So let's go through that one. So it says one person for Lake County. Okay, one person income. It says that for the low income, that means you were making 22,150. Okay. Okay. But that's for the low income. You probably get maybe the highest. So let's say it's a 50,000. You probably get the 50,000. And then of course, then it says that the income for two person. Okay, two person is like $25,000. So that's why I said the income is kind of different. Let me go to okay, so the Orange County down payment. So let's say I told you about that right there. The if that's for the one person. So let's say let's say it was two person that was inside your family. And remember, the more people that's inside your family, the more money you're going to get. So let's say you had two people inside your family. Okay. You can get the $70,000, but you can only make 38,600. Okay. And then if you had, and then for the two people inside your family, for the moderate, you can make 92,640. Okay, so for very low income, you can make 38,600. For the low income, you can make 61,800. So, but the lender kind of help guide you by. You don't have to worry about none of that or concentrate on all of that stuff. Your main thing is to get yourself ready to be able to be qualified for these down payment assistance. You can see that this person, this one person, okay, and that's why I said one person with the moderate income, with the 81,120, they're getting $10,000, guys, to put on their house. So let's say you had five people in the family. If you had five people in the family, okay, the moderate income, that means the most income you can make is you can make $125,000. That's six figure, $125,000 you can make. If you are at a low income, you can go up to 83,400 and still get $40,000. And then if you're at very low income, at the 52,000 with five people inside your family, you can get $70,000. So that's how it based on that. So don't disqualify yourself. I've seen two sisters got in houses and they were able to get $10,000, with two people. Okay. So there's many different things that goes on with it and goes on with it. So don't disqualify yourself. So when I say little or no money out of your pocket, as low as possible, for me, I like to see that you keep your money inside your pocket. So what I do is, my girlfriend, I have a girlfriend that she says, "Oh, I would not accept your I would not accept your offer." But what I do is try to make sure buyers are keeping the money in their pocket until they need to give it up. Okay, so let's say I'm gonna use a house of $350,000. Okay, I'm gonna use a house for $350,000. So let's say I would say I'm gonna start off at $2,000 for your escrow. Okay, you got to give your escrow up first. Okay, in order for the seller to take the property off the market. So give your escrow up, and then okay, you gave up $2,000 for your escrow. Your inspection might cost you another $500 to $600. That's $2,600 out of your pocket, and that's probably it that you have to pay, because if you're working with the down payment assistant, the grant, the bond, the loan, whatever it is that you're working with, those are where you're going to get your money from. Where you're going to get your 20% from, or where you're going to get your 5% or your 3% from. So you don't have to worry about none of that. And then you see it says little or no money out of your pocket. $1,500. I've gotten people in their home for $1,500. Okay. $1,500 where you can't even find a one bedroom apartment most of the time for $1,500. With the apartment, they want first month rent, they want deposit, and they want last month rent. That's like 246. That's like $6,000 out of your pocket, and then they want you to make three times the amount of whatever the rent is. Like crazy. It's like, who has that money? That's kind of crazy. So anyway, and then I will also make sure that I negotiate a 1 year home warranty protection for you. So just in case the appliances go bad, the AC and stuff like that, you can just call the home warranty company, and they'll come out and fix it. That's usually $500. So I negotiate that for you as well. And it's important, and these programs are real programs, and I'll guide you through step by step of how to get them. I will definitely guide you through that. So I've been guiding buyers through for the last 18 years of how to get the down payment assistance, and I really enjoy doing it. Okay, costs buyers don't expect. So these are I'm usually a straight shooter up front. I tell you like it is. I'd rather disappoint you now than disappoint you when you get into contract. So I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know to make sure I'm not disappointing you, because I want you to learn to buy a house and buy a house the right way. I want you to learn to negotiate, okay? Negotiate your deal. So, earnest money deposit. Okay, so you'll need your earnest money deposit, and that's why I said the earnest money deposit is 1%. Okay, 1% of the price of the property. But just like I just told you, I want to start off low. So even if it's 1% and it's $350,000 and it's going to be 3,000, I'm going to start off at maybe $1,500. Someplace around there, or even $1,000 if I might start off high, but I want to start off low. And then the seller might come back and say, no, I want $2,000. Then at least, okay, we can settle on the $2,000 because I know it's 1%. So I know, but I don't want you to give that up front. I want you to save that money to do other things that you need to do. Okay. And then you need the inspection. The inspection, I told you that is probably going to cost you about anywhere between $500 to $600, depending on what inspection you got. The appraisal, usually they want a credit card for the appraisal, and then sometimes, but that's all included in your closing costs. Okay, all of that is included in whatever money that you're going to get, the bond, the grant, the down payment, whatever you're going to get. All that money is included in it. But we just want to make sure that you know that there's inspection money, and the lender might go ahead and just ask you for your credit card, even though they might not charge it, but they might ask you for it, and some might charge it. Just depends. Okay. Closing costs, the lender, the title, and the processing fee. Okay, those are fees. Okay, lender's fee, those are all in your closing costs. Title fees, those are all in your closing costs. So those are in your 3% closing cost, whatever it is. Okay, and the processing fee, all of those are in your closing costs. So they might say your closing cost is $11,000. So all of that is inside of that. Okay, and then what will happen is the lender will break it down for you on a CD to tell you what it is. All those fees are and what they go for. Escrow and prepaid. Normally, when you're closing on a loan, they might have something called escrow and prepaid. That means they might collect 1 year insurance up front. They might maybe collect 1 year tax up front. They might collect whatever 1 month HOA up front. They might collect those fees up front. So be aware of those fees. Ask your lender when you don't understand. It's important to know some costs are negotiable. Okay, you can't negotiate the taxes, and you can't negotiate the HOA. Your insurance, yeah, you can shop around and find you can find insurance. If one is over here charging you 3,000, you might find one over here just charging you $1,500. So you can shop around and find that. But the taxes are something, insurance and taxes, those are not you can't negotiate those fees. Those fees are paid. But you can get a lower insurance, but you can't get a lower taxes, not unless the truth. The taxes goes by the house. You might be finding that the taxes on this house is high and the taxes on another house is low. So just know that. Okay, there's certain costs that comes in it. When in doubt, ask your realtor. Ask your realtor, ask your lender. Okay, don't go anything blind. Don't say, well, I assume that this is the way it is. Don't assume anything. This is the largest purchase of your life, biggest purchase. So you want to make sure that you're being educated with all that information. So important to know, some costs are negotiable. In many cases, seller may help you pay certain closing costs. So what I do is I ask the seller to pay your closing costs for you. I start off as high as I can start off. I would say I start off at 3%. So because usually that's what I know you need, around 3%, 4% or something like that. So I start off up high. Normally I go to seller, Mr. Seller, my buyer wants to for you to pay closing costs. My buyer wants a home warranty. My buyer wants whatever it is that you want. If you see the washer and dryer, my buyer wants a washer and dryer, whatever you see you want, you ask for the seller. So we negotiate that stuff in your contract. Remember, if it's not in your contract, it does not exist. So let's say you walked inside the house and all of a sudden you saw the washer and dryer. Don't assume you get the washer and dryer. You ask your realtor, do I get that washer and dryer, or can I have that washer and dryer? So your realtor will put it inside the offer. Okay. And then when the seller signs it, become contract, then you sign it, and then the seller sign it, it becomes contract. Okay. So remember, some costs are negotiable, but not all of them. Not all of them are negotiable. My job is to make sure you understand the cost before you ever write a check or wire her money. That is my job, to make sure that you understand all of that. My job is to make sure that you understand how to purchase a home. That is my job. And then your job is to ask me questions that you don't understand. Okay. All right. So the home buying process, step by step, it's a lot of process. I'm just going to go through simple, but usually what I do is each process that you go through, I usually make sure I walk you through it. Let's say you went on the contract. I'm going to say you need to deliver your escrow in 3 days. And remember, when you're under contract, it's no joke. When you're under contract, that money that you gave to the seller, let's say you gave the seller $2,000 or $1,500. Let's say I told you to deliver your escrow, which means the deposit, in 3 days, and you decide, hey, I'm not going to listen to her. I'm going to deliver it in 4 days. That $1,500 that you gave up, you're going to lose it because you did not stay within your contract. You went beyond your contract boundary. You got to stay within your contract. With me, I make sure you stay within your contract. Okay, I'm gonna haunt you because I know better. If not, you will lose your money. So pre-approval is the first step. Okay, so once you, for me, you take the home buyers class. That would be my first step. Take the home buyers class. Once you take the home buyers class, you get a certificate that's good for 2 years, and you can use it to buy a house within 2 years. And that's how you get the down payment assistance. That's how you get the bond, the grant, the loan, or whatever it is that you're getting, or your lender's getting. That's how you get it because you had that HUD certification, and it's good for 2 years. You can use it in any all 50 states. So that would be my first step, taking the home buyers class, register for it. I teach it every month, every first Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It goes from 6:30 until 9 p.m. Every first Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. You graduate Friday, you get your certificate by the next Monday or Tuesday, and then you hold on to it, and it's good for 2 years. You use it. You give it to your realtor, you give it to your lender. If your lender asks for it, you already have it stored in an email someplace where you can find it. So then after you get your pre-approval, okay, once you get your pre-approval, your lender is going to tell you what your buying power is. Make sure you keeping your debt low, okay, debt to income, because that depends on your how much debt you have, okay, going out to how much income you have coming in. That's how much house you can buy. They make sure that you're not overspending on the house, because they want to make sure they're keeping you within boundaries. Make sure that you can afford to buy groceries, you can afford to buy clothes, you can afford to eat, you can afford to, put gas in your car. So that therefore they make sure that there's only a certain amount that they're taking out. They might be say 29%. Don't make sure your income to debt, you're not going no more than 29% up whatever it is, your salary, when it comes to the debt to income. They don't want you to be overwhelmed and cannot pay your bill, or the lender come back and take back your house. The lender don't want your house. Okay. So just know that. So now after you get pre-approved, it's time to search for a house. Then that's when your realtor is going to set you up on a search according to the guideline that you give her or give him. Okay. And then you start searching for a house in your desired neighborhood. And then I make the offer. When I make the offer, I put all those things I was telling you about in the offer, the closing costs. Okay. The buyer's agent compensation, the home warranty, if the washer and dryer is not included, put the washer and dryer, all of those things we put in the offer. And then that's when we start negotiating. You tell me what you want, anything you want, I put it inside the offer. Then you got to get your inspection after, once the seller signs the contract, you sign it, the seller signs it, it becomes a contract, then it's go time. You reach back out to your lender. Your lender is going to say, maybe put in an application. Some lender let you put in the application ahead of time. And then some might put it in when you get on the contract. Because sometimes it takes a while to get on the contract. I have you sign a buyer's brokerage agreement for at least 6 months, because I know it takes a while to find a house, the right house. And then it takes, if you're using the Orange County program, it takes you about 60 days to close on that house. So you just make sure you have enough time. So let's say there's work that needs to be done on the inspection, and let's say there's wood rot or something needs to be fixed. We go ahead and get that fixed and stuff like that. Go ahead and negotiate that with the seller so we can get that fixed. So we won't have any issue when it comes to closing. All right. Appraisal and underwriter. There's something called appraisal and underwriter. We just talked about the appraisal fee. I don't know what the appraisal fee is, because it varies. It might be $600, or it might be $700. So there's a process in between a number. It's everything is just between a certain number. So then you get that done. All that stuff is included in your closing costs. And then you just have to let the lender break it down for you. The underwriter is different from the lender. The lender collects all your documents, and then what the underwriter does is they approve the document. They approve everything that you send in, that the lender sends in. So they're two different things. There's the lender, and then there's the underwriter. Okay, so those are two different things. Just understand that there's two different things. If you have any questions about that, let me know. So they approve all the paperwork that the lender actually sends in and verify and check. Okay, then of course, once they do that, the underwriter says, okay, well, your loan is approved, you're clear to close. Remember, when you hear that word clear to close, that's good news. Make sure that you're not going out and buying a car, buying furniture, buying anything, because the lender will check your credit the day of closing. So you don't want to go buy nothing, because if you go buy something and your income to debt was tight, and then all of a sudden it was supposed to be 29%, and then now it's 30%, you won't be able to close on that loan. So make sure you're keeping everything tight. When in doubt, go back to your lender and ask your lender. When in doubt, call your realtor. The class that I teach has a housing counselor. Call your housing counselor, okay, to ask them, okay, I need to get a car, or What do I do? My car broke down and I really need a car. Then, let them guide you. And then, of course, closing day. Okay. The day before, I'll let you do your walkthrough, or the day after, I'll let you do your walkthrough in order to be able to make sure that the house is the same way you left it as when you did your inspection. Okay. Remember, many buyers disqualify themselves too early. A quick review can change everything. So all you have to do is just talk to me, ask me question. I'm there to help you answer any question that you may have. What I don't know, I promise I will find out. But I think I know quite a bit about buying and selling the house. Because now I've been doing it for about 18 years. This year will be 18 years I've been doing it for. Love doing it. So when in doubt, I will check with the lender if I something I don't understand. I knowledge is power. So I make sure that I'm always learning. Buyer's agent. Okay. There is a two agent. There's a buyer's agent and then there's a seller's agent. The seller's agent signs a contract, okay, with the buyer, said you're going to sell my house, and then the seller is going to pay the buyer's agent. I mean, pay the seller's agent. The seller will also pay the buyer's agent. All we have to do is put it in our contract. Said, Mr. Buyer, Mr. Seller, I want you to pay my buyer's agent compensation. And usually they do. So far, I have not seen that they don't pay it. So you just have to ask. And usually I start off at a certain amount and then they might, we might negotiate back and forth until we get it right. But I I am a listing agent and I'm also a buyer's agent. But when I'm working with buyers, I'm a buyer's agent. When I'm working with the seller, I'm a seller's agent. Okay, so that's how it goes. So there's two different things. So the buyer's agent represent the buyer, and the seller's agent represents the seller. Okay, but regardless, I protect your interests in every step of the way. Okay, let's say I was working with you and I was working with you and I was also the buyer's agent and the seller's agent. I would protect the transaction. Okay, making sure that everybody is equally fair on each side. Negotiation, I negotiate that for you. You just tell me what you want and I will negotiate your price, your terms, your repair, and your credit. I will negotiate all of that for you. All you need to do is tell me what you want, and I will negotiate that for you. Okay? I'll explain what happens and make you feel comfortable and not confused. Okay? I will make sure that you understand. And if you don't understand, I'll go back with you and say, do you understand? Do you have any question? I always want to make sure that you fully understand what it is that you're doing. I did tell you that this is the largest purchase of your life. Okay. And it's great owning a house. A lot of time you don't pay your rent. They give you 15 days notice and put you out. Sometimes you live in your house for 10 years. I've seen people live in their house for 10 years and they never foreclosed on your house and they never paid your mortgage. So you just never know. I remember being inside this house that I'm in and I didn't pay my mortgage for 6 months. They didn't throw me out. I couldn't afford it. I went back to them and said, I can't afford my mortgage. So they fixed it. So that's why I said living in your home, in your own house, is different from living in an apartment. They'll boot you out, and a house, the lender don't want back your house, because they think about all the houses. If they sold 1 million houses, do you think, and 1 million people can't pay their mortgage, do you think they want that house back? Then they're going to have to manage it. They're going to have to worry about cutting the grass, paying the HOA, all upkeep and all that stuff. They don't want your house. Okay, so whatever it is, if you ever get in trouble, call your housing counselor and work it out with your lender. Okay, work it out with your lender. So how do I get compensated? It's simple. The buyer's agent is compensated. It's negotiated in the contract. So I will ask the seller for your closing costs. I will ask the seller for my compensation. I ask the seller for home warranty for you. So just like I said, little or no money out of your pocket. So there's no reason why you should not be buying. Even if your credit is bad, we can help you get your credit cleaned up in order for you to move forward. In many cases, the seller will pay whatever is that you help them to need them to pay. I just got into a contract yesterday, and I put in two offers for the buyer, and one of them came back and told me, because I wanted 3% for the buyer's closing costs, they came back and told me they were raising their price. So anyway, I said next. The other one told me, okay, we'll stay within the price range, and then I'll give you 9,000 for closing costs and a home warranty. So that's the one we took. We're always going to take the best deal for you. Okay, we're going to take the best deal. If you are confused about what the best deal is, don't worry, I'll help you. Okay, I help you negotiate the price, term, the repair, credit, and everything like that, and I help you step by step of what to do. I explain everything to you so you understand nothing and you don't feel confused. Okay, I do all of that for you. I explain it clearly and make sure you're able to understand it. Why this matter? Having a representation, it protects you from costly mistake and unnecessary stress, because I'm the one that knows how to do it. So I'm going to help you through it so you're not stressed out, because buying a house can be stressful. I think one of the hardest part of buying a house is uploading the paperwork to the lender, because I find that out. Okay, I find that's the hardest part because they're asking you for all these documents. Sometimes the lender asks you for the document 3 times. But that's okay. Send it and send it quickly, because if you don't send those documents, you're not moving forward. Your file is just sitting there and doing nothing. They're not doing anything with your file. You're asking them for the money. So then if you don't want to send your paperwork in, that's too bad. That's your fault. So make sure that when you're sending those paperwork in, you're send it in and send it quickly. What I say, have something on your folder, on your email folder or something like that, where, hang on, let me let somebody else in. Hang on. I have something else. I have something. Hang on. I have something on your folder, like a folder. Have a folder on your email where you store all your documents in. Okay, you store your documents in there. So then, therefore, when the lender needs it, because they're going to need your paycheck stub, they're going to need your 2 years tax return, they're going to need your bank statement and things like that. So have it on your computer, on a folder on your email where you can easily send it to them and store it there. So it's easy, and then it won't be as difficult. But if you make it cumbersome and say, you know what, why they keep asking for all these documents? Trust me, they're just gonna put your file down. Okay, because you're asking them for their money. So you better be on point with that. Make sure that you send what it is that they need. Whatever they need, you send it and send it quickly. That's how I find out. That's how I find that works. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna answer all your question at the end. I'm almost done. And I will promise I will answer your question and carry on a conversation with you. Okay, special situation that I help with. Okay, so work with seniors. Okay, and then they also have where the children they can help the children buy a house, and then they not putting themselves at risk. So they have where seniors are buying houses for their kids, which is okay. That's good. And then they also have seniors that pass away and they leave their kids and they got to worry about going through probate and things like that. They have all of that stuff. But right now, I think I read something that seniors are buying most of the houses, because of course this is a retirement state in the state of Florida. So I help right size, upsize, you know, in the help you with the next chapter of your life, to make sure that you're moving forward, whether you need to sell your house or you need to buy a house or something like that. I help you with that. Buying wise, selling without unnecessary stress. I help you with all of that. Okay. I help you with buying without having all that unnecessarily stress to go through. Relocating to Central Florida, I help guide you through that as well. If you're looking to relocate someplace or relocate to a different city, not everybody wants to live in the same city. Protect your family's wealth and your legacy, okay, by helping you to plan smart and helping you to make the right decision, because a lot of time as a home buyer, you go into a home and you're buying a house and you're looking at shiny things. With me, I don't go in the house and look at shiny stuff. I picture myself when I go inside this house that this house has no furniture inside of it. What does the walls look like? And how do I position my furniture that I have inside of that house? Usually that's what I look at. I don't look at the people's stuff. I look past them when people say, "Oh yeah, my house is junky." Don't worry, I'm not looking at that stuff. I mainly, does the toilet flush right? Is there any leak underneath the sink? Is the roof leaking? Is there a blue top on the roof? Okay. Is the garage door working? Okay. Is there termite on the house? Okay, those are the things I look at. Can you flush the toilets? Is the running water okay? Those are the things I look at. Is there stain on the ceiling? Those are things that I look at when I go inside of a house, not the people's furniture, because I know that people's furniture is going to be eventually gone from the house, and it's going to be my furniture that's going to be inside the house. Just picture yourself and your family living inside that house. pick the right neighborhood. Drive through the neighborhood to make sure that that neighborhood is for you. Okay. Not every neighborhood is for everyone. So drive through it. You're the one that's picking the neighborhood. Don't you can't ask me, said, oh, I want to live in this area. What do you think about that area? Remember, you're living in that area. You need to know about that area. Okay, you're sending me that house from that area. All I'm going to do is research what price it is. Okay, what kind of offer we can put in. Okay, what does the seller's disclosure says? Okay, and any other document that comes with the listing. Those are the things that I have control over. You have control over finding the right house, making sure that's the right house for you. When you walk in the house, how do you feel? Is it too dark? My buyer told me I showed her 5 houses. She told me one of them was too dark. She's like me. I don't like dark houses. Okay. These situation requires tragedies and not guesswork. So I will help you to make sure that you're not guessing. Okay. Every family situation is different. This is where personalized guidance will really, really matters. And this is where you need to pay attention to says, okay, I'm going to guide you through, ask as many questions as you want. Remember, no question is a dumb question. Okay. Just keep that in mind. And what happens next after you finish listening to this? Okay, what happens next? Okay, so book a one-on-one call with me if you don't have a realtor. Okay, I will review your situation in private. I will do a Zoom call with you, buyer's consultation with you. It can take about 30 minutes and I'll review everything with you, answer all your questions and see where you are. Okay, I said not to disqualify yourself. Be proactive. Okay, get additional information that you need. Okay, get your question answered before you jump into it. Don't jump into it and then get on the contract and think that you can cancel the contract. It doesn't work that way. Okay, you can't just get on the contract and cancel it. Okay, you need to be serious about whatever it is that you're doing. I'm one of those. I'm very serious. Okay, I'm serious when it comes to buying, helping you find the right house, helping you negotiate the offer, make sure you get inside of it. I do not want anyone to buy a house that they're not happy with. Okay, but you need to know that before the inspection period. Okay, I put on my contract 10 days inspection. By the ninth day, you need to make sure you make a decision whether you're moving forward or not. Because when the 11th day gets here, you're buying that house, whether you like it or not. Okay, because you're going to be outside your inspection period and you're going to lose your money. So you need to make sure. I'm a straightforward shooter. Okay, I'm a straightforward shooter. I'm very serious about when it comes to somebody purchasing the right house and make sure that they purchase the right house. I don't sugarcoat things. I'm very transparent and I'm very clear about how to buy a house. And that's why I said, you know what, God just put it on my mind that I needed to start doing this and teaching this class because when I do the home buyers class, it's a structured thing. And we do it underneath a certain time. Within 8 hours, we got to get that done. By Friday night at 9 o'clock, when you start Wednesday, we have to finish that class. Okay. We can go over a little bit if you guys are answering question, but we need to finish that class. Okay, because that's just the way it is in order for you to get your certificate. So don't leave without getting your questions answered. Okay, make sure that you're leaving with a plan. Okay, you see my contact information below there. Okay, you can text me and just say next step, or you can say home. Okay, or you can say plan or whatever you want to text me. Just say I want to get started and I want to get started now. And it takes a process. There's some people that get started and don't buy a house until next year because that's the process, because your credit might not be good and your credit might need to be able to fix. And sometimes it takes you 6 months to a year to get your credit clean up. So it's not an easy process. There's some that within 30 days. I know lender that can close your house. Hometown Hero still has money. The last time I checked, I think they had about $9 million. And then they usually give up to about, I think, 35,000 depending. So there's money still out there. So, but you have to be under contract. You can't have the money set aside. You have to be under contract. So that's my presentation. I'm gonna stop sharing my slide now and then answer any questions that you may have. I'll check the chat. You can also open up your mic and you can also speak as well, okay? Feel free. All right, so great. This is great. What about if you get the seller to buy the closing costs? What about if you get the seller to buy the closing costs. Seller don't buy closing costs. They give you the closing costs. Okay. So the seller, whatever closing costs that we put on it, let's say my usually I put around 3% because I think about 3% or 3.5% is able to cover your closing costs, your down payment. So a lot of time you need a total of about 7%. Okay, so half a down payment and half a closing cost. So you don't, the seller not going to buy your closing cost. They're gonna give it to you because we're going to ask them for it. Any other questions? Any other question? Trishawn, Frida?
Hello, Vivienne. I'm sorry I was late coming on to the website. No, I don't have questions, but I even just appreciate you putting this information out. So I don't have questions. Question for you. I do have one question. Is it you think it's an issue if a person say they haven't filed their taxes, not me personally, that you refer them to someone? Would you have an issue with that if they ask?
You talking about filing which taxes? Ever file taxes?
Yes.
Okay, if they
Like
if
no,
talk,
they're regular taxes, annual taxes.
okay, no, so that's
Do you
okay.
ever refer people to?
No, okay, so with the taxes, are you? Yeah, let me clarify that. So with the taxes, are you saying they never file taxes?
Well, no, they have, but like they wanted, because I had a customer who said they wanted to buy, but yet they had filed their taxes for a couple of years.
Oh,
And
that
then what they told me is they were told they're 1099, but they were told when they get 65, they don't even have to file taxes anymore, even though they have their own business. Have you ever heard of that? Or is that
yeah,
something you're
I've
familiar
heard of
with?
it. I've heard of it, but what they can do if they want to buy a house, they can go back and file the taxes. Because I've seen people go back and file 5 years worth of taxes.
Oh, 5 years? So you can,
Yeah,
okay.
so they can go back.
Hmm.
But I know people that never file taxes.
So, question, if this person was saying they were told once they turn 65, if they're 1099, they don't have to file taxes. Have you ever? I've never heard that.
I've heard of
So
it.
I
If you
didn't know
don't
that
owe,
was
if
a
you know
thing.
you don't owe any taxes and you're paying to taxes already. I know one lady, I haven't filed taxes for like 5, 10 years, someplace around there. And because
Hmm.
she knows she never owed any money. So she never filed the taxes. But because she didn't have
But
to buy
would she,
huh?
well, if she wanted to buy a house though, would that be a requirement? Is there
Yes.
anything to where if you don't owe money?
Yes, I
Okay.
think she would have to go back and file those taxes because I think I've seen somebody go back and file their taxes. I think like 3 years
Okay.
back or whatever. So yeah, I would that's what I would do.
Okay.
Put her in touch with the lender and I let because lenders are able to guide you through. I know my lender one of my lender that I use, they're able to guide you through to say, okay, go back and file your taxes.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay. So, but there's
Hopefully that
nothing.
person doesn't owe any money because if they owe money, then they're going to have to pay
Yeah.
it.
So there's nothing you've heard of where you reach the age of 65 that you're not required to file taxes, even if you're working. They don't think you owe. Have you ever heard of that?
And the one lady, she was getting it's the same situation. She never filed her taxes, and she wasn't working, but she was getting a lot of money because she put away a lot of money, so she
Hmm.
was getting a lot of money. But she never really
Uh-huh.
filed. She never really filed taxes. I think after a few years, I think eventually she was starting to file her taxes. But she never filed taxes, and she wasn't working, but she was getting a lot of money from her pension, a pension and her
Uh-huh.
IRAs and stuff
Okay.
like that. She was getting a lot of money because she had a lot of money. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So
Okay.
yeah, so
Okay.
it is possible.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Well, no, that's the end of my questions. Thank you.
Yeah, it's possible. But anyway, that's good. It's good seeing you, girl. But hopefully, this helps someone. Okay, and I'm able to move them forward. Get them unstuck because a lot of people are unstuck. Is for us to be able. Right now is one of the greatest time to be buying a house. I'm not sure what's going to happen 6 months from now because if the interest rate drops, a lot of people are going to jump in the market, and people are going to overpay for their houses. Okay, so a lot of people are waiting and said, "Well, I'm waiting on the fence for the interest rate to drop," not knowing that if the interest rate drop, you're in trouble. Okay, because
And
everybody's going to jump in the market. So when you're supposed to pay 350 for a house, you're paying 400,000 for it, and that's what's going on right now, where a lot of people are upside it down because they pay so much for their house. Okay, when the interest rate was low, so now they're upside down, and now they can't sell their house because now they got to sell their house as a short sale.
and I tried to explain to them. They were like, "Yeah, but I'm waiting for the interest rates to go down." I was like, "You see, when the interest rates go down, the prices go up.
The
When the
prices
prices
goes
go
up.
down," I was like, I hate to say, you can't get it both ways because they make
No,
sure the economy is set up to make sure they make money." And when I tried
exactly.
to explain that, they were like, "I'm waiting." I'm like, what? I said, you know what? Don't wait. If you think the interest rates are high, buy now because you still own it and you can always refinance
That's it.
later. But don't
That's
keep
it.
waiting because it's like there's never a
Yeah,
good time or a
and just
bad
an
time to buy a
example,
house.
just an example. This house that I'm living in, I paid one hundred and
Uh-huh.
seventeen thousand dollars for this house 20 something years ago. And
Oh,
then
okay.
when the market went down, it went down to 80,000. Now it's back up to 400,000.
Oh,
Okay,
wait. Yeah.
because that's why I said people don't understand the market. They sit on the fence and they wait, and not realize that, okay, just like you said, for the interest rate to go down, the price of the house has to go up. Okay, because they set it up that way.
Right.
Okay, you're not going to have both. You
Yep.
can't have your cake and eat it too. You see the one or the other. Which one would you
Yep.
rather? I'd rather buy the house. I'd rather buy the house high and refinance later. Right now, I think when I started this podcast, I told them that I'm paying 3% for my interest rate when I started off at 7%.
Me too. The
Yeah,
same thing. We started when it was higher, but as soon as it dropped, we refinanced. And it's like now I'm down to where you are. And it's
yeah,
like, okay, and it's still the same house.
yeah.
This way you get more. And I was like, and I always tell them, you can always pay if you have extra money, pay $100 more here, $100 more, or just set it up for $100 over the mortgage on your principal. And once you do it after a couple of months, you don't even miss the money because it's not in your pocket anymore.
Right, exactly, exactly. So yes, so stuff like that happens. A lot of stuff happens. That's why I'm trying to do these so I can help the buyers get off the fence and buy the house now. Because I'm telling you, 5 years from
Yeah.
now, that house is going to be $800,000. Because just think,
Oh yeah, the same house.
the same house. Can you afford it? No, you
Right.
cannot afford
Yeah.
it. Why not buy the house now and refinance it later and worry about the refinance? So
And
long as you can afford the mortgage payment, you're fine.
right. And they would, because I know a lot of customers complain, yeah, but what happens if something happens? Get a home warranty then for a better peace of mind, especially if you don't have all your appliances and everything is not new. Just get the home warranty and have a peace of mind. Because I know if something goes out major, the home warranty will give you a deductible, but you're not paying the whole thing. And it'll be, I tell people, I didn't even know what that was till I brought a short sale house and they said because the heater was not new and his eye was cold, they included a home warranty. So now when times are hard, the only thing I ask is they said, well, what do you want? What concessions? Because we're not giving up. I said, can I get a home warranty? That's like what, $500. They're like,
Hmm.
that's all you want. I said, I know you're not giving anything. But since your appliance, since your AC is not new, the appliances are not new, I feel my customer feel okay with the home warranty because they know if they get into it tomorrow and something break down, they're only paying a deductible
Yeah.
versus paying all of that. And
And
I've
and then,
managed to
and
get
then I
that
have one.
renewed.
I have a warranty company that you don't even pay a deductible. You pay your one time
Oh,
five
really?
hundred dollars and that's it, and you don't pay a deductible. Every house that I put on the contract, I put a home warranty on it, and the seller pays for it.
Can you send that to me? The name
Mm-hmm.
of your company? Because that
Yep.
sounds like that. I mean, even on my personal home, if your stuff is not new, I tell people just get it. My sister had a home warranty, and she was like, I said, you're in there and the heat go out. You don't have $3,000. Just go on and get the home warranty and get it over with. So she keeps the home warranty.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That's good information to know.
You're welcome. So yeah, I'm gonna do this class every month. Probably the same the
Okay.
last week of the month, and the same class. I'm gonna be doing it and to get some of these buyers off the fence. Let them know that the money that they're paying for rent, they could be paying that money for their mortgage.
Yeah, and I know one of my sister, god sister, I thought she had been that she was buying it. She's in a duplex and she's been in the duplex for 15 years. I was like,
Mhm.
2 more years, and that could have been a mortgage.
I know, right? 15
And you're
years.
just paying off their duplex
Oh my goodness.
in the same place.
And how much does she pay? Tell me your rent. What's her rent?
I know it's probably about 1,000. She's in Virginia, but if she was like, she started telling me about her credit.
A
I
thousand
said, let
times
me help
12.
you. Let me
Okay,
turn
a
you over.
thousand times 12. That's
Hmm
12,000.
For
You say she did,
15 years.
so she did it times 15. She paid
Hmm
$180,000. A
And don't
hundred and
own Jack.
eighty.
If they said tomorrow,
One
if they said
hundred and
tomorrow they're
eighty
gonna sell the
thousand dollars she
duplex,
paid for that apartment.
she could have bought a house.
She could have
I
bought a
would have sold her
house.
my mother's house for that price.
I,
Yep.
I had I had one of my customers. He went to his mortgage company. He went to his file his taxes, and he was renting for 5 years. And the tax man asked him, says, "Do you rent or you own?" He said, "I rent." He said, "How much do you pay for rent?" And he was shocked. Within 5 years, he paid that landlord $80,000. He was shocked. You know what?
Dog.
He went and bought a house. You
See,
know, so
yeah. So I was trying to get her to move into, and she's my age. I was like, you know what? I was like,
yeah.
you
And
paying
then
off his mortgage. You
there's
could have been
help up
paying
there.
off your own
What you do is
mortgage.
find out, do your research up there and find out what kind of grant or what kind of down payment she can get. Do your research up there,
Uh-huh.
and find out
Yeah,
what you
you
can
know
get.
what? I may go back and revisit and try to get her to do that. Because I
Yeah,
just hate to see that we're the same age and she's never owned a home and she has
yeah,
a full-time job.
yeah. Go back up there, find out what kind of and even the home buyers class that I have down here, all 50 states is good for all
Hmm
50 states. So I've seen people take
Oh,
it from
really?
Chicago, Michigan,
Hmm
all over Virginia, take the class from all over, and get the HUD certified class. So I would go back and revisit her, and you can send it as a referral to somebody up there, and then
hmm
find out what kind of program that there is that they have for her. But that make that be something
Okay.
this year you work on, okay?
I will. Thank you. I appreciate that because I really hate to see her in that position. Okay.
Yeah, that is like, yeah, that's kind of